Hey, I'm Dagny. Let's talk about education, in particular, how schools have been affected by this whole quarantine stay at home. And to get insight on the ground, in person, in their own words, I have a very special guest, my brother Dantes.
Hello.
So, to start, first I want to hear from you. When did this whole pandemic slash school is now over slash what's going on, when did that all feel real to you?
Um, Probably felt real when the school board announced that we'd have an extra 2 weeks of spring break. At the time we thought we just had like an extended break, but then as the days went by, we started like realizing more and more that like this might be a big deal, like a real thing.
And was this something that, like, you and your friends, were you guys really like talking about it? Were you looking at the news, or what was influencing that?
I mean, I would say we were talking about it. It was like we would joke about it because we didn't think it was serious yet. But then like every day, like there were more and more things happening, and like the news was saying like more and more different things. And then when it actually started getting close to like the area we live at, that's when it started like becoming more prominent.
Okay. When they decided, okay, school now, it wasn't that school was closed, it's just that, okay, you need to be staying home, but school is continuing, right?
Yeah.
At that time. So how was the whole school at home experience for the last part of the semester for you?
It was different, obviously. For me, it was easier because in my case, my school, they didn't really make it mandatory for us to like do the work they were giving us because it wouldn't affect our grade if we didn't do it. So it was easy going, but even for some of the work that I did do for my college classes, it was different. Like it was more difficult to actually try to learn a new subject. It was easy to do what we were already doing and not learning anything new. But if you want to try to learn a new topic, like I feel like the element of trying to retain information is a lot more, I guess, unfamiliar at a home environment than a school environment.
Okay. Let's dive deeper into that, because that reminds me of that article that like we both read of that kid who was saying that actually doing school at home they found easier or less disruptive or distracting and things like that. So what aspect of doing school online and at home do you think is, or do you feel is a challenge, and what aspect of it do you feel is actually something that you would like to continue?
I say the challenge is that feeling of not being connected with your teacher or professor. Because I feel like the in-person interaction when your teacher is, like teaching you, it's a lot more, first off, like familiar, so it's a lot more comfortable. And also I feel like there are a lot of students who need that in-person interaction to like actually learn things. As for like the positives of working at home, you can really do it on your own time, not whenever you want, but like you have there's not like an immediate deadline where you have to finish the assignment. You have to finish the assignment at the end of class. It's like you have, usually like a whole week to do what like one day of classwork would be. So I guess that's good. There's like a lot of extra time you have to do the work.
So you can go at your own pace,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
To clarify, Dantes is a senior in high school, now officially finished with high school, right?
Yeah.
So how has this time or this interference changed or influenced your attitude towards senior year and moving forward to college?
Well, for senior year, I feel like it was cut short and does seem kind of unfair. Even though like we can't do anything about it, but like the last portion of senior year is like seen as one of the most important parts, And I feel like with it being it feels like it was like rushed in a way where like we all expected to, end up coming back after spring break. Maybe we'd have to wait like 2 more weeks, but we'd come back and then like to realize that this is actually like the end. It feels like rushed, and we were kind of like robbed of a little bit of our experience. And as for college, I feel like it's gonna be a very like rushed process going into college, because I feel like I know everything I need to know, but I still feel like myself and a lot of the class of 2020 is gonna feel like a little bit unprepared, um, in the sense that those like last like those last moments of our senior year would have been like would have added some more knowledge that we probably would have needed before going into college.
For school administrators and like teachers, either for high school teachers as well as like college professors and stuff, from your perspective, what would you want them to know? What do you think they need to know in terms of how you and your colleagues are going to be going to school next semester?
I feel like what they would need to know is that we might need, or that they would need to have like patience with us. Because like this time has been very rough for a lot of people, and also trying to get used to going back to normal, or what we're going to see is going to be seen as normal in the future. We'll need like we'll need time to try to adjust to everything. So I feel like it's best to kind of, for administrators or teachers, to just try to kind of take it slow with us, at least for the beginning, and not kind of try to like rush things as if nothing really happened, because like everyone knows that something happened, and we all need like our own time to try to adjust back into like the real world, I guess.
So how have you been spending your time at home since the beginning of spring break being extended?
Well, I've been doing a lot of sleeping. That's for sure. Actually, in the beginning of spring break, I went to a party, right? But while at the party, it was announced that the coronavirus was a pandemic. So I guess in Dagny's eyes, that meant that the virus was just in the air, everywhere. So when I came back home, I was forced to be quarantined in my own house for 2 weeks in the guest room. So that was interesting. But yeah, a lot of sleeping.
Okay, now first of all, you can't just put that out there.
No,
That makes it seem like I
gotta let
punished
them know.
you.
Because you did punish me, man. It wasn't, whatever, man.
I just feel that
No.
people should appreciate
No. Well, I
people
didn't
who make the effort
appreciate.
to, protect everyone, right? Other than sleeping.
Anyway.
Yes.
Besides sleeping, the taking care of the little work I had to do for school. For my regular classes, there really wasn't much work I had to do, but I have a few college courses that I have to take, so I was taking care of that. Talking to my friends online, whether it's through the phone or just playing a game, just keeping in contact with them, or just vibing,
Okay. Now, and then during these like assignments that you're doing, were any teachers going off script or off syllabus in terms of actually asking you guys, how are you doing, or what's going on with you, or anything? Or did everyone stick to, you have an assignment for chapter 2 tomorrow, so
I mean, the teachers all had like, the message was like, oh, I know what's going on, hopefully everyone's okay, and staying safe or whatever. There weren't really too many that like reached out personally to see how we're all doing. I know my psychology teacher, he was like making the effort to kind of like, I guess, be a part of his students in a way, because I guess because like he knows that like there are a lot of students who like everyone's home life is very different, and like they kind of prefer being out of the house in school. So he was really one of the people who tried to like reach out to everybody and communicate with them if they wanted to. Yeah, that's one of them, I would say, that like went the extra mile to make sure all of his students were doing well.
And how did that make you feel?
It made me feel really good, because like he's like I kind of expected it from him because of like the vibe he gives off. He's a very like, you can tell he's like a caring, like kind of generous sort of person, So like it felt really comforting that like he was one of the people that that was reaching out to students and like asking if they're okay. And then also actually there was a video that my middle school actually made, and they of like all the teachers, you know, like saying they hope that we're all okay. But like the middle school, they sent it to like everyone in the district and like and alumni from the district.
Okay.
Right. So even though I haven't been in that district since I started high school, like I feel really good like just seeing that message pop up, you know, from like my old school, because I really had a really good time over there. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
So during this time, what type of self-care or mental health practices or tips or examples have worked for you?
Just kind of learning to being comfortable in your own space, because like during like this time, especially my senior year, like I really, not that I don't like being in the house, but I was always very active and I liked just like going out and hanging out with friends like literally all the time. You know, I'll probably go out with friends like at least twice a week for like, you know, the whole year basically. So going from that to like this so drastically where I'm kind of forced to stay inside for my own safety. Yeah, it's kind of like learning to like be, I guess, in tune with yourself and being comfortable just kind of staying in one space a lot, and also interacting with, you know, I guess my family, you know, just being one with myself, I guess.
Has your preparation for college differed, changed at all due to this time spent at home? As well as the talk about how the first semester is even going to be, whether it will be in a classroom or not, and things like that.
Well, preparation hasn't really changed. I don't think I would be doing anything different if I was still in school in terms of college, besides like, I guess, me knowing who is and isn't going to the college I'm going to. See, I don't think there's any really difference. And then, what's the other question?
In terms of looking at college, maybe more of a staying at home situation or more online schooling and stuff. Are you ready for that? Are you cool with that? Is it just like, okay, we'll just flow with it, however, whatever turns out? Is it still a bummer? Like,
I mean, whatever happens, I have to do it, obviously.
Right.
I think if the first semester of college is going to be like at home and online, it would be new. I feel like it would be difficult, at least for me, because I feel like learning new things, educational wise, I feel like I need to be in like a classroom environment to like learn stuff. So that would be interesting to try to like deal with being at home and also like, you know, being at college through my computer. But I guess, I don't know, we'll figure it out when the time comes.
How can older generations help support and understand your generation? And when I say older, I don't necessarily only mean like grandparents' generation, also where people also maybe just a few years older than you, as well as a few decades older than you. What do they need to understand? How can they support you? How can they help you?
Like during this time?
During this time and moving forward. Like, what do you think do they tend to not understand or misinterpret?
I think a big misunderstanding is that first off, we're not the same. You know, we were brought up in a different environment than older generations. So I guess a lot of the things that we do and don't know and do and don't do is different from them. So I guess the best thing would be to try to...
Like what?
I feel like our morals are very different. Like my generation and old generations. We have like our morals and like how we perceive a lot of things is very different. I feel like my generation is a lot more, I guess, like sensitive to a lot of things that the older generations don't really understand. But it's not that you have to understand, you just have to, not to empathize, but to at least try to see where we're coming from.
Respect.
Yeah, like at least like respect what we're doing and how we're doing it. You know, like it shouldn't be like if we're doing the same thing, if we're doing one thing different from how someone else would be doing it, we shouldn't be like criticized. It should be like you should try to understand why we're doing what we're doing.
So could you give an example of what your generation is that you feel is sensitive to that other generations would don't empathize with?
I feel like one thing would be like generally I feel like how we see our like life goals. Like I feel like there's a lot of people in my generation that kind of, they don't really just want to be stuck in one space. They really want to like follow their like, they really want to follow their dreams. And I feel like a lot of people in my generation are doing that than the older generation. But I feel like the older generation sees like those admirations we have as like almost impossible. So they kind of try to like not force us, but like try to redirect us to doing like something that is more plausible.
Okay.
So I feel like instead of trying to like diminish us, it's better to try to, I say like encourage us, or at least like trying to understand where we're coming from. In terms of like we want to do what we want to do and not be like forced to do certain things.
Okay. Now, do you feel though in that, are you and your colleagues open to listening to someone who's not in your generation try to give you a balance of wisdom in your pursuit of following your dreams as opposed to settling or doing something boring? In that, I guess the reason why you see the difference that you see older generations, let me know if I'm wrong, but you see older generations who, yes, they're adults, but that in your perspective, they don't seem happy, or it seems like they've just chosen something to pay the bills, or just chosen a boring life, and have settled into it, while you and your colleagues really want to avoid that altogether and feel like you can still make money and actually enjoy your life or be happy. Yes? Okay. So are you still open to wisdom or advice or insight or suggestions or even caution that is articulated by a person of an older generation?
I feel like we're all open to it, but it all depends on what that advice is. You know, like if it doesn't really correlate with what we're trying to achieve, then I feel like it wouldn't be relevant for us to know. Like it's fine to try to give us like, to try to like give us certain tips on things that we should be doing. But I mean, yeah, I feel like it is good to give like, or to get advice from older generations. But also I feel like it still depends on the advice, because they're from like two different like worlds in a way. Where like everything's a lot more different with us now. And the whole thing is to try to like be better than the last. And I feel like with our generation especially, that's going to be like very difficult, because already so much has happened to the point where it almost seems like impossible to try to like one up what like the past generation has done.
I feel like intergenerational conversations are important so that one can sometimes avoid of reinventing the wheel if like someone else has already done it. Like even looking at my colleagues who are in different phases of their lives as well, and see how a lot of them also started wanting to pursue their dreams and not be a boring adult because they saw their parents or their older siblings or older colleagues and stuff. And then you fast forward and they are a boring adult. And it's like, wait, so how did that happen? It's like they didn't plan for that, but just due to circumstances but somebody has to eat, or someone needs to pay a bill, or, well, I mean, who else is going to do it? Or, you know, whatever the dream was, it wasn't moving as fast as I thought it could, so I need to do this instead, and then just ended up staying there. The main thing that I took note of is like doing stuff intentionally is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
Regardless of what suggestions you're getting and stuff, it's like as long as you really are doing, even if it's I need to take a break from here to do this, you do it with intention as opposed to just by like defaulting in what you're doing.
Yeah.
there's like a recurring theme of if you spoke to somebody who's 80 years old now, asking them, well, when you were at the age of going to college, did you want to have a boring life? You would possibly hear that they too actually did have some sort of dream they wanted to pursue so that they could be happier than their parents, because all they saw was their parents being stressed out or something. And then they just ended up being like their parents or ending up maybe more accomplished on paper. Yes. So that is...
Yeah, because I feel like that's like our biggest fear in my generation, of like growing up and not being happy with the life we made for ourselves, since we had these like such huge like admirations for our future. I feel like one thing that not none of us, but like the majority of us want is to like not be in the position that like our parents are in, where like they don't really have to do, but it's because it's like there's no other choice, you know, there's no other option. We feel like for my generation, I feel like we want to have, because like we do have the option to kind of choose our own life at this point. So I feel like us trying to take advantage of that is very good. I know some people might not understand it because like some of us have very big things that we want to do, but most of them, if not all of them, are like possible now. So I feel like that's like a big deal for us.
Okay. Now, is there anything from older generations that you do admire or take note of that you want to continue?
I guess how they just don't stop. You know, how like they kind of, if they see something, even though it may not be like the best thing, it works out for them. So they just keep on doing it because they know like it's working. You know, it's like the fact that they don't give up as easy. That's very like admirable for the old generation.
Anything else you would like to share?
Wear a mask and wash your hands.
Yes, yes.
Wear gloves. Quit thinking you're essential if you're not essential.
For sure. Thank you so much for being a guest on my blue couch. Yes. We should call this a blue couch talk or something. No?
Sure.
Yeah? We would like to hear from you, actually. If school is a primary part of your life, whether for you or a sibling or a child or other family or friend, how have you or them been influenced by this time? And what have they learned from it? Also, make sure to go to dagnyzenovia.com to see the blog post for this video where we both will elaborate a bit more on this intergenerational conversation. And also we want to hear from you too about that. Are you making an effort to talk to people who are not your same age? Like, do you expand or influence your perspective with those sorts of conversations? Let us know in the comments. Is there anything else you'd like to ask them?
Leave a like, subscribe.
There you go.
Press that little bell.
Yes.
That everyone tells you to press.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you next time.